محمد رسول الله عليه صلاة الله وآله.
This hadith was narrated by a very famous companion known as Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. And before he accepted Islam, his name was Abdu Shams ibn Sakhr ad-Dawsi. He was from the tribe of Ad-Daws, which was located in Tihama, to the south of the Arabian Peninsula. And when he came to Medina, well, actually what happened first was there was a great man from the tribe of Ad-Daws, a companion. His name was At-Tufail ibn Amr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He accepted Islam first, and then he went and he called his people to Islam. But not many of them accepted Islam. In fact, one of the only ones that accepted Islam at that particular time was Abdi Shams ibn Sakhr ad-Dawsi radiyallahu anhu, who is Abu Hurairah. And when he came to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, the Prophet changed his name to Abdul Rahman, because you cannot have a name in Islam that indicates that you worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Abdu Shams means the worshipper of the sun. And so the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam changed his name because of that. And that wasn't a normal practice of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, that he would change people's names. And as such, if someone takes Shahada, when someone comes to Islam, the first thing that you should do is not to give him a new name. Yani, subhanAllah, some people have this infatuation with, as soon as he becomes a Muslim, he has to change his name. So he used to be Joseph, now he has to be Yusuf. Or whatever his name was. His name was Moses, now he's Musa. Or his name was Mo, and now he has to be called Muhammad. No, when a person first accepts Islam, he wants to change his name, that's his prerogative, but it's not something that we need to focus on. And perhaps it'll cause problems with his family. Maybe it'll alienate him and things like this. Now, if he has a name that is impermissible in Islam, then the name is to be changed. But as long as his name is something that is permissible, then he can keep his name. Because it wasn't from the practice of the Prophet ﷺ, nor those who came after him, that everyone that took Shahada would change their names. Anyway, his kunya was Abu Hurairah. And Hurairah is kitten, and that's because he was known to keep like a kitten in his sleeve sometimes. He's very kind to animals, as opposed to some of the behavior that we see from the youth these days, when they are very violent with the cats and the animals and things like this. This was not the way of the companions of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In any event, when he came to Medina, it was the year 7 after the Hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He came in Muharram, which is the first month. The year 7 after the Hijrah. And he actually came with his mother to Medina. His mother was a mushrika at that time. She was not a Muslim. And Imam Muslim, the author of Sahih Muslim, he narrates a very interesting story in his Sahih. And it shows you how the heart of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was. And any of you who have Muslims, or relatives rather, that are not Muslim, should pay very close attention to this story. Abu Hurairah mentioned that he would go to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or that he went to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and he told him that I'm actively trying to call my mother to Islam, trying to teach her about Islam, but she refuses to become Muslim. And this time, he came to the Prophet ﷺ, he was crying. This time, when I talked to her about Islam, she said something very bad about your Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And asma'atni ma akrah. And she let me hear something that I disliked a lot. He said, please make dua for her. Subhanallah. Look at that. Not curse her because she cursed the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Please make dua for her that Allah open her chest to Islam. And so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allahumma hdi umma Abi Hurairah. Oh Allah, guide the mother of Abu Hurairah. So Abu Hurairah left the Prophet ﷺ and returned back to the home that his mother was staying in. And he heard some water splashing. And she told him, she heard him coming, and she said, wait just a minute. Wait just a minute. And so he didn't enter. And then she had, when he finished, when the water stopped splashing, and she put on her garment, and she came to Abu Hurairah and she said, come in now. She said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Abu Hurairah went back to the Prophet ﷺ. He was crying again. But this time he was crying out of joy. He said, oh Messenger of Allah, لَقَدْ اسْتَجَابَ اللَّهُ دَعْوَتَكَ. Indeed, Allah has answered your dua. My mother has become a Muslim. She has embraced Islam. He said, oh Allah, make dua that the believers love us, me and my mother and I, and that we love the believers. And so the Prophet ﷺ made dua for that. And then Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu says, so there is not a believer after that I met except that he loved me. Subhanallah. From this story, we see the importance of two things. Number one is da'wah. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu was actively involved in trying to call his mother to Islam. And second of all, the importance of dua. Because he was making dua for his mother, and then he asked the Prophet ﷺ to make dua for his mother. And that is one thing that a lot of times, we are negligent of. How many times have we not taken advantage of the last hour in Yawm al-Jum'ah, for example? Making dua for whatever good it is that we want in this life and the hereafter. How many times do we not take advantage of making dua in sujood? Of making dua between the adhan and the iqamah? Of making dua in the last third of the night? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us in the hadith al-Qudsi, who is it, talking about the last third of the night, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends in a manner that is befitting to him, and he calls out, who is it that is seeking my forgiveness so that I can forgive him? Who is it that is asking for something so that I can answer his request? So we should take advantage of these times of ad-du'a. And the other thing is, and this is very interesting about Abu Hurairah's whole tribe, that tribe of Dos. At-Tufail ibn Amr, who we mentioned was the first one amongst them to accept Islam, he went to the Prophet ﷺ and he told him, Inna Dosan qad halakat wa asat wa abat. They are destroyed and they have disobeyed. They didn't accept my da'wah. Wa abat. They refused to accept my da'wah. The call to Islam. Fad'u alayhim, Ya Rasulullah. So make dua against them, O Messenger of Allah. So the Prophet ﷺ said, Allahumma ahdi Dosan wa'ti bihim. Oh Allah, guide the tribe of Dos and bring them to Islam. He didn't make dua against them. He made dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide them.
أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العالمين.